friends, Jerry Rosa here in the Rosa Stringworks Workshop. We've got a real nice video coming up for you here in just a few minutes. But first I wanted to just take a few minutes and talk to you about a few different things. I am crazy busy in the shop right now. I've got 12 or 13 instruments piled up I haven't even looked at yet, and I'm trying to get to them as fast as I can. You know, it just depends how complicated the instrument that I'm presently working on before I can get to some more. I don't like to get more than about 2 or 3 going at a time. It just gets too complicated and confusing in my little feeble brain. I will tell you that I started a new method of keeping track of time because of being so busy. And believe it or not, this is all the time that I've worked on one mandolin right now. And you can see that it's just minutes at a time. And basically, I charge $60 an hour. That's $1 a minute. So now I can very accurately keep track of the minutes that I work on an instrument. So this morning, I just started working on this instrument from 9:08 to 9:26. And then, I worked on it that little short amount of time. Then I put it on hold for a few minutes to do something else, and so I clocked it out, and then I clocked back in at 9:33. So, all this to just say that you're getting billed very accurately for the amount of time that I'm working on your instrument. And this is not inconvenient at all. It's the clock is a little noisy, as we know. I have built a box for the clock, so it doesn't click so loud now. You can see the box here. It still clicks, but not as loud as it did in the first video or two. And that was the click right there. I don't know if you heard that or not. But I insulated the box as best I can, and it just is what it is. It has to be close by, or it wouldn't be convenient to keep the time of the instruments. But anyway, that works out great. I am so happy I put that time clock in here. I can be very fair on my time now, and I'm not getting ripped off, and you're not getting ripped off. I wanted to read a few comments from customers that I've gotten here recently. Well, first of all, this is not so much a customer, but one of the reviewers. I'm working on my new lead playing mandolin method, and I haven't even decided what to call it yet. It's kind of like how to improvise on the mandolin, how to play lead on a song you've never even heard before, that kind of thing. So that's what the whole video is about. That's a very difficult thing to teach. How do you teach somebody to just play an instrument without, like to play any song? I mean, it's just not that simple. But I do have some good ideas on it, I think, and here's some feedback that I got from one of the reviewers. There's about 8 people reviewing it right now and looking at it, and most of the feedback's been positive. Now, they know that this is just a rough draft of the project. It needs a lot more work. But anyway, with just that knowledge, here's what Steve C. says. He says, first of all, thanks for the opportunity to give you my input. I love teaching and learning music, maybe too much, and this is quite exciting opportunity for me. First of all, your method is brilliant. Scales can give beginners too much information to deal with. In the end, scales are a reflection of the song's chords as they go by. Your method bypasses the confusion of what scale do I use here and pulls the notes directly from the chords themselves. He goes on to say, I was a trumpet minor in college and I have formal music theory training. What you are presenting is sound music theory presented in a very useful way. You have something special here and it's worth sharing. So that's just his lead paragraph into his critique of the thing, and his critique is very good. I really think he did a great job explaining, some of the things that he thinks I should do to make it better. So I'm really going to take all the feedback from all the reviewers to heart and try to make this product as good as it can be. It's going to be a little while before it's available because I got to find time to work on it, and with all the instruments backed up and all the other projects here on the farm, and I need to be 3 people for sure, and we would all 3 be real busy. Anyway, I got some more feedback here. This is just a quick little note from Grant B. I get notes like this every day, but I just picked these 3 because they just happen to be recent. And Grant B says, The silk and steel strings and the antler bridge make my little $300 Kentucky sound great. So thanks, Grant, for the feedback. Robbie S. says, I enjoyed visiting with you over the phone a couple of weeks ago. This feedback is on my current DVD set. It's the beginning learning how to play the mandolin DVD set. And it's with the Nashville number system. It's available on my website. And here's his feedback on that. It says, thanks for promptly sending the videos. I've been beating around on a couple different mandolins off and on for about a year. Could not find anyone in my area to take lessons from other than YouTube. I just finished the first video tonight. Your ideas and theories make this so simple that I feel stupid. I have struggled to remember what the chords are and which frets I should be on as I move down the neck in the G and C positions. Your middle finger on the dot tip is priceless. Duh, he says. He says, I sat there mandolin in hand just trying to understand why I didn't know this already. He says, I would get lost with the sharps trying to count the keys as I move along the neck. Immediately after the tip, and I think he's referring to the tip about using the middle finger in the dotted frets is kind of just a way to know where you're at on the mandolin. Anyways, I could find the chords and double stops in multiple places. He says, thanks, man. Can't wait to watch the other videos. So he's only been through the first video. It's a 3 DVD set. That mandolin DVD set, by the way, is a totally common sense approach, if you will, for lack of anything better to say, how to play an instrument. And it does teach you mandolin, but what it really does, and in my opinion, it really does teach you how to play music. After you learn the mandolin, you can adapt it to a guitar, you can adapt it to a banjo, and it will help you get there much faster, in my opinion. And the reason I say that, and I don't mean to brag on it so much, but the reason I say that is I've had just countless positive feedbacks on it over the years, and people coming up to me all the time going, where do you find these genius kids? You know, he says, you give them 1 or 2 lessons and they just take off. Well, I think it's this approach. They understand it. You know, it's very common sense. And it just makes music easy to play and easy to understand and fun to play. Well, that's enough John here. Thank you all for supporting me on Patreon. Thank you all for subscribing to the channel. We just added another 700 subscribers, so we're at 10,700 and growing every day. So thank you all very kindly for all the fine feedback and the wonderful things you're saying. I still get my negative comments every once in a while, and for the most part I just say thanks for watching. You know, I'm not going to argue with them. I'm not going to try to persuade them that what I'm doing is the right way to do something, and I don't try to persuade anybody that. I just do what I do, and it turns out like it turns out, and most of you seem to think it's pretty good, so I really appreciate the feedback. Let's get into the video now. People are always asking me what A-style mandolin would I recommend. Well, when this one came into the shop, this is definitely one I would recommend. It's an Eastman mandolin, MD305 is the model number. And I saw them on the internet just a minute ago from the price range of $350 to $479.99. So affordable mandolin, and it really sounds good, plays good, and it looks good. Hope you enjoy this video. Thanks for watching. Hello friends, Jerry Rosa here in the Rosa Stringworks Workshop. We have a Eastman, brand new Eastman, in for a setup. And it's a real nice Eastman. Let me tell you the model number. The model is an MD305. The serial number is 147-52142. I tell you what, I like this Eastman. It's a real nice mandolin. It's well made, pretty, feels good, feels balanced. Let's just listen to it and see what it sounds like here. Got a lot of punch. It's in for a setup. It's got a radius fingerboard, which is okay. I mean, I'm not a fan of the radius fingerboard. I like the size frets. It's got the small frets. a tiny amount of buzzing up in here. The bridge is really, really sharp. The nut and all that feels pretty good. I can feel the frets sticking out a little bit on the ends, but not too bad really. They're not too bad at all. They're pretty good, but you can feel them pretty good if you move down through there. So we can clean that up a little bit more. Action-wise, it's actually pretty good. It's about where I set them. It's just about. It might even be a hair low, and that's probably why we're getting some buzzing. Up here, I haven't measured it, but I'd say it's very good, or even a hair low. So, I don't know that I can improve a ton on this mandolin, to be perfectly honest with you, but we'll do what we can and make it just play a little bit better. Before I unstrung it, I looked down the fretboard real good, and it looks real good. I don't see any problems, but I'm going to just lightly touch this on here, and then I can feel it drag if there's any high frets. Seems like there's just a tiny bit of drag right here in that area. I'm going to very, very, very lightly dress them. Just very lightly, because I can tell it's very minor. In case you're wondering, I'm hardly putting any pressure on this at all. And it's radius, so I'm going with the radius. That's pretty good right there. It doesn't need much at all. If you look real close, you'll see just the tiniest amount of filings that came off. And that's so minimal that it doesn't probably even need to be recrowned. It's so minimal. So what we'll do is we'll just save the customer time and money. We'll just go ahead and polish them from there. I'm going to use some, just because it's handy, I'm going to use some 1200 to polish these. That's really fine. That'll make them very, very slick. Perfect. All right, the ends are a little bit bumpy, so I'm just going to use this to round off the corners. Yeah, that's pretty good. And we'll just barely touch the corners on that too. Yeah, that's good. That's about as good as it gets. Okay, now we will have to clean the fingerboard with a razor blade since we've got her scuffed up there. Once again, because it's a radiused fingerboard, you have to follow that radius as you're doing this. Got a knack for doing that these days, since there's more and more radius fingerboards all the time. Of course, all the guitars are for the most part radius, or a lot of them are. I tell you another thing I've noticed on this mandolin is that where the bridge sits on here, it's really punched two big marks right in the very center. Maybe if I get the light just right, you'll see those marks. There's one of them right there, and the other one's right in here. It depends on how you turn it in the light. It doesn't look that much in the camera, but it looks quite a bit right here. You can feel them with your fingers, no question about it. Wouldn't have any trouble just telling where they're at. One's right there, one's right there. And anyway, those are from the inside edges here. So that makes me think there's something going on, that it's riding on the inside more than on the feet themselves. Well, let's just say it this way. I can definitely see daylight through there where it's not sitting perfectly. Some of the daylight's right in the middle here, so we're going to work on that next. Here's a piece of 220. We'll set this on here, and I'm just checking to make sure I'm about in the right spot. I also marked it ahead of time. The treble side is on this side, so I know this is the treble side. So that's why I'm holding it like I am, and that's looking pretty good now. There's still a light spot here where it didn't scratch anything off. That looks pretty good. Let's look and see what it looks like now. Well, it looks pretty darn good. I don't see a real problem. I'm just surprised that it made such big marks right there in the middle. Okay, we're going to call that good. I think that's real solid. I'm going to go ahead and cut a deer antler saddle for this and put it on here and see what that does for the sound. Well, I thought I had the camera on, but I didn't. So I was just talking to you and you didn't respond. Anyway, I just oiled the fretboard a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and put a little Renaissance wax on this top. Generally speaking, the paste waxes make them sound a little bit better. They're good for the finish, I think. They make the instrument pop just a little bit more. I don't think the Renaissance wax does as well in terms of the sound as, say, like Minwax furniture wax. It's a paste wax is what it is, but it's a Minwax paste wax, and that furniture paste wax is very, very good for improving the sound of the instrument. This stuff here, I don't know about the sound, but I like the way it goes on and comes off, and I'm sure it doesn't hurt anything for sure. I like it because it goes on and off very easy and simple. Go ahead and wax the chrome back here too. This stuff is good for pretty much anything. You can put this wax on just virtually anything. They even use it on priceless paintings in art museums. It's amazing. Well, this mandolin's got some little problem with this E-string tuner up here, and the reason I say that is because when I started taking the strings off of it with the strings that it came with, as soon as I started loosening this, and I know for sure I was turning it the correct way, that string popped. And it popped right at the corner. Well, I thought, well, you know, maybe that string was just fatigued, or it's just a bad string, or, you know, who knows, old, whatever. So I put a new string on here, and I tuned it up, and I had to loosen it up just a little bit to work on some stuff, and it was fine. And as soon as I started to tune it back up to the place where it should be, it popped. And it's popping right at the edge of that. So to me, there's got to be some little sharp edge or something there. You know, I don't know for sure, but it's very likely suspect. So what I'm going to do, put on my little fine glasses and get down here, and I'm going to, all the way around, I'm going to just kind of rub with this. I've got a very fine round file, and I'm just going to rub kind of like a 45, if you will, across the sharpness, if that makes any sense to you. And try to do that all the way around the hole on both sides of the peg. Yeah, there's actually something kind of sharp right there anyway. Okay, I don't feel anything now, so let's turn it around and go to the other side of the hole. This is the side that it actually broke on. Yeah, it even looks a little jaggedy there. I doubt seriously you can see that in the camera, but I can see it, and I'm going to cut that off. I have a feeling that's the problem. It's very sharp edged right there. Sharp angle is what it amounts to, and I'm just trying to dull that angle, and I think I'm doing that. I can see it getting flat and shiny in those areas. Well, let's see what happens this time. I'm hoping we don't break another one. The nut here is actually pretty good from the factory, but you can just be a hair better, so I'm just going to file it a little bit. It's actually pretty good though. That's even a little bit better, so if you can make it a little better, why not? This side's pretty good on the base side. Very good. I think it's just about perfect. I think we got her set up pretty well. I double checked the intonation. It's perfect. So let's see what it sounds like now. I doubt it's going to sound very much different. I think it may have a little bit more punch. Perhaps it might even be a little brighter, but I think that'll even settle down as the strings break in, you know, the brand new strings. so I think she's in real good shape. Well, I hope you enjoyed that look at this Eastman A-style mandolin. I think it's a very nice mandolin. If you're looking for an A-style mandolin, this is probably a good one to be looking into. Once again, that model number is MD305. Thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting my channel. Thank you to my Patreon supporters.